The Crown of Deception, written by Corlan Nelag. The minds of men have always been known to shift as quickly as the tides themselves, such as the poets of old wrote when they met the shores. Like clay, the mind is shaped for the better or worse. The politics of mere men tend to do the latter. In times of uncertainty for the Meyadi, an ambitious boy was raised on the principles of statesmanship and cunning treachery to become a man that single-handedly rippled the water of time itself. It was this man, Hazid Aural, and his gruesome fate that instilled fear in the hearts of men. For many years he ventured to the untamed deserts, dedicating time to a minor education of his, the science of archaeology and graves. Like all Meyadi children before him, his fascination lay with death and its nuances, something that the average boy grows out of quickly. There was none other like him among his peers at the time, uncovering great ruins and ancient clues to uncover frequently, and meeting a like-minded woman named Marwe, whom he married as his first wife. The passion of the young man burns brightly, but the call of the kingdom rings truer and more clamant than his enthusiasm. It was only a matter of time before Hazid was summoned for his great wealth of knowledge to the capital to serve as an advisor to the Grey King, King Name II, and his council. He was not thrilled to abandon his passion, yet he answered, intending to sit only a year, though it soon became decades. All in the blink of an eye, a bright mind of endeavor and opportunity wilted into a dull, conniving, and selfish man of pride. His wife, Marwe, came to stop recognizing him for who he once was and abandoned him, a move which cost her dearly with her life. He made many enemies, but mostly powerful friends. He also remarried during his time on the council to a beautiful woman named Maya. But a black day struck the kingdom in a time of peace. The illustrious King Naem perished of old age upon his throne. This did not surprise Hazid, having seen the mannerisms and erratic behavior of the Grey King. He had already prepared a powerful scheme to upbraid the monarchy with his connections. With crafty anticipation, Hazid used his reputation to propose a plan within the political sphere to elect himself as king and lead a grieving kingdom into the light once more until a proper heir was found. It was an abnormal plan, many thought, and traditionally it was generally frowned upon. No clan but the Meyadi may truly sit on the throne, seeing as they're the progenitors of the kingdom with the most tainted blood. There was an outcry in the streets, accusing Hazid of stirring discord, and some smartly claimed his true plan was to dismantle the centuries-old dominance of the Meyadi royals. Their cries were not loud enough, seeing as Hazid and his men held the sword. Thus, detractors were quickly silenced and ostracized. The supporters of his campaign for king were rewarded duly. The chaos itself went on for 3 months, tensions growing as the regency made poor decisions, such as choosing to suspend the construction of an aquifer to save costs. After a period of rising distrust, the Regency Council opted to allow Hazid's petition, against all policies and tradition. There was an appeal and a vote held. His charisma did him well, seeing as Hazid was elected by a close vote as interim king for a period of 1 sand year, or until an appropriate heir was found. Upon the day of his lavishly planned coronation, just as an azure crown was to be placed upon his head, the most unlikely event happened. Munhajra Fet Maidi, daughter of the late Naem II, entered the great halls. Returning from a religious pilgrimage immediately upon hearing the news of an interim king, she outright demanded for a blood-scale test to be performed, challenging his right to the throne by blood alone, a measure that Hazid cannot compete in against a full-fledged descendant of the Meyadi clan. As per the ritual, their blood was spilled into a copper cone instrument fashioned with 6 levels that measured the tainted purity and how rightful one's blood was. Hazid's blood crept down, finally stopping on the 4th level, a reasonable amount of purity for a man of his blood. Yet, as Queen Munhajra spilled her blood, it rushed down in almost an instant to the 5th level, bordering on the 6th, the purest tier. The contest was over before it began. His crown was stolen from him, his kingdom snatched from his grasp with great jubilee. Hazid watched as Munhajra was crowned queen of the kingdom. At that very moment, the woeful Hazid swore an oath of vengeance under a snake-tongued mumble as he lunged for her, grasping for her throat before he was snagged straight away and thrown from the city. He felt his friends and conspirators wrestle him out, mortal enemies and dead men walking now. Famously, Queen Mune said to Hazid as he was driven out, "How foul you are, poor Hazid! Your ancestors spit on you from the earths, for such as you tried in your cunning nature to seize the throne so unrightfully. Live as a disgrace, a stain upon thy wife's name." Thrown to the muddy sands, his life fell apart in disarray as Hazid was thrust into the life of an unwanted soul. Weeks he spent scouring for food to survive, wandering in perpetuity as he thought with the scent of blood and vengeance still haunting his mind day after day. Seeing scathing caricatures of himself plastered throughout the lands, Hazid was the laughingstock of the country, even left in the dust by his wife. His blood boiled, and his mind toiled at the mere recollection of his humiliation, his skin cringing as he pulled his hair out in clumps of agony and loathing. Recalling his earlier years, when his mind was sharp and when his passion burned, the thrill of exploration was upon his mind. Through desert days he wandered, sheltering among the dunes at night. He ventured not to find new bones to disturb, but to take advantage of his mastery of the world, his heart still yearning for revenge. Past the old city of Noxa, facing the newborn sun at dawn and turning right at a stone of black, Hazid found the entrance to an ancient burial crypt, Tel Gilkmag, and within its inner sanctum he had ventured once before. Once more this place of death was buried among the sands, untouched. He had gained access to the inner sanctum by solving a series of intricate locks and sacred seals placed there by its builders. A vast complex worthy of a king, yet whoever lay buried within had managed to evade the pages of history for all except a young, hungry Hazid. He knew of the tomb of Tel Gilkmag, ruled by the undead, its forces dark and unnatural. Delving deeper, poisoned by hatred, the woeful Hazid invoked the name of the unliving and convened with the Amukan, a pest that thrives upon spreading death and misfortune, ruling on the mortal realm as a prince with many faces, keen on turning the desert dunes into fields of blight where he shall reap and sow his unrelenting death. It appeared to Hazid as a pale adolescent with a golden glow about his form, robes of green delicately draped over thin, bony arms, and with a stomach-turning crown of vile insects that crawled and slithered over his decrepit body. Hazid negotiated a deal for unnatural power. Great waves of death from the cities of the Cold Queen are what he promised to the Amukan. To Hazid's luck, his charisma had yet again brought him a new opportunity, one that intrigued the Amukan greatly indeed. The Corpse Prince demanded that Hazid stab himself through the heart if he so wished for these powers, and he would have his sweet vengeance. Doing as he was told without much hesitation, the stinging knife plunged into Hazid's heart. Like a cold shower of water, Hazid's life was once more recalled to him. Yet it did not take too long for him to pass, and for him to see the devilish smile of the Amukan who had deceived him so well. His body lies within the depths of Tel Gilkmag's inner sanctum, encased in a slab of obsidian, whence his bony form was trapped, and his icy heart of hatred yearns for the day of release, when his wrath can be unleashed upon his wrongdoers. Such goes the tale of Caution, the terrible fate of Hazid the Forsaken, as it was told in the years after his disappearance. Whatever the truth may be, it is intended to be a great warning to not abandon one's passions and pursue happiness. May the future generations learn of his mistakes and shortcomings.